Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mandy. In today's video, we're going to talk about something very important in our everyday life, that is the grind radical. Now let's get the 田字格 ready and the pens ready. First of all, let's take a look at the grind character. This is 和 and it's the grind character. Here is the evolution for the character. You can see it's evolved from the shape of a grind plant. And if you want to turn the grind character into the radical, you should make it smaller, and usually it's on the left side of the character. This one, and it would be the grind radical. And here is one very similar characters you should pay attention to, and that would be mi, which means rice. And this is the rice character. And when you turn the rice character into the rice radical, it's also on the left side of the character. This is the rice radical. So these two, they look quite similar. One is only have one stroke on the top, and the other one have two dots at both sides. And they're all related to grind or rice or food. So now let's take a look at the grind radical. So as the name indicates, it's related to agriculture, grind, harvest, or concept of growth. Now let me show you some example with the radical. The first one, for this character, it has two pronunciation. And the first pronunciation, it would be 重 with the fourth tone. When it pronounced as 重, it means to grow. I'll give you some example. The first one is 种 树 种树. As you can see, 种 is to grow and 树 is the tree. So 种树, to grow tree. And 种花 种 is to grow. 花 is the flower. And for the 树和花, as you can see, the 树 have a wood and tree radical on the left. The 花, it has a grass radical on the top. So there's a lot of plants going on here. As for the second pronunciation, it could pronounce as 种 with the third tone. When it pronounced as 种, it has two meanings. The first meaning is the seed, like the seed of the plants. Usually we say 种子 种子. It just means the seed. And it could also mean type. Like what type, what category. For example, we say 种 类，种类 it means the type, or you can just say the 种 itself to means type. I'll give you a sentence for example. 你喜欢哪种电影 Okay. 你 is you. 喜欢 like. 哪 is which. 种 type. So 哪种 which type. 电影 movie. So together 你喜欢哪种电影 You like which type of movie? Let's continue with the next example with the grind radical. It could be 稻 it could be the rice plants like it shows on the picture. So this type of plants can produce rice. Speaking of rice, let's talk about one more important food in the world, and that would be the wheat. That would be 麦 would be the wheat. So how come the 麦 have no grind radical in it? Well, here is the evolution for both characters, and you can see they are evolved from different concepts. Let's continue with the next example. A grind radical, and then fire. 秋 it means autumn. Here is the evolution for the character. You can see in the very original form, the upper part of it, actually it's an insect. To be more specific, actually it's supposed to be a cricket. In the ancient time, people believed that when you see a lot of cricket, then you will know the autumn is coming. And there's another story about the characters. It said that in the ancient time, after people harvest the grind from the farm, they will burn the farm to kill the bug underground, to make sure there's no bug left in the ground. And somehow the burning can help the grind to grow better in the next year. So that's why you can see a fire in the character. So that's about the fire. We know 秋 is autumn. So to say the autumn, we say 秋天. 秋天, this is how we say autumn in everyday life. So in the ancient time, people harvest mostly in autumn, and we have a traditional festivals to celebrate the harvesting, and that would be the Mid-Autumn festivals, and we call it 中秋节. And I will write it down. 中秋节. The 中 means middle. The 秋 means autumn. The 节 means festival. So middle autumn festival, mid-autumn festivals. Here's a brief introduction of the Mid-Autumn Festivals, also known as the Moon Festivals. It is one of the most important traditional holidays in China, in ancient times and also in modern days. It falls on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, when the month is at its fullest and brightest. People gather to share a feast, offering prayers for good fortune and happiness. A key tradition is enjoying the mooncakes, and these cakes symbolize completeness and reunion. Another tradition is lighting the lanterns and displaying them in the parks or along the streets or river. Children often carry colorful lanterns in evening and play around. The festival is also tied to the legend of Chang'e, the moon goddess, which is said to live on the moon with her jade rabbit. Okay, so now let's continue with our next example, which is have a grind radical on the top and this. This is 季, and 季 means season. Here is the evolution for the character, and let's get to some word with the 季. To say season, usually we say 季节. 季节, it just means season. And if you talk about specific seasons, we can say 春 季. Chun is spring, and ji is season. So 春季 is spring season. But maybe you know that we have another word for the spring season, which is 春天. For the 春天, it also means spring. So what's the difference? Basically, the meaning are the same. The only difference is 春季 sounds more formal and 春天 sounds more casual. So in everyday life, we tend to say 春天, and when you speak of something very serious, for example, it's the conference that happens in the spring, and then in that case, we will say 春季. So with the same logic, we can talk about other seasons. So we can have 夏 季 is the summer season. And with the same logic, we can also say 夏天 夏季 formal, 夏天 casual. And same logic. 秋季 autumn season, and 秋天 also autumn season, like we just talked about it right here. And the last one is winter. 冬季 or 冬天. And speaking of the seasons, so we have 4 seasons, right? So to say the 4 season, we can say 四季. 四 is the number 4, and 季 is the season. So 四季 is the 4 seasons. And as the very famous hotel, the Four Seasons Hotel, the Chinese translation for it is 四季酒店. Let's continue with the next character. 香. 香, it means smell good. Here is the evolution for the characters. From what I know, the original form of it means the grind tastes so good and smells so good. So now the 香 keeping the meaning of smelling good. And let's get to some word. We can have 香 料. 香, it means smell good, and 料 means material. And you might also notice on the left side of the 料, it has a rice radical. Okay, so the 香料 together, it means spice, like pepper and some other material that makes your meal smell better. And let's get to the next word. We can have 香 气. 香 is to smell good. 气 is the air. So smell good air, that would be aroma. Okay, makes sense. And another word also making a lot of sense is 香水. 香 smell good. 水 water. So the water that smells good, that would be the perfume. Speaking of the 香, actually there's an interesting fact I would like to share. There's a very famous city with the 香 characters in it, which is 香港, Hong Kong. And the name of Hong Kong, 香港, is really related to the spice and the aroma. There's two versions of the name origin. The version one is that during the Ming Dynasty, this area was a trading port for incense wood. The wood was shipped from Guangdong to other places, and the wood smells so good and it leaves the fragrance in the harbor. So we name it Fragrant Harbor. And the version number two is about the fresh water source. There's a legend refers to a sweet water stream on Hong Kong Island where sailors collected water, and they call the stream as Fragrant River, and the nearby port, which is in Hong Kong Island, and it becomes Fragrant Harbor. And both of the stories have something to do with smelling good. And now here's the questions. The word 香港and Hong Kong sounds nothing alike, so what is that? Actually, the English name Hong Kong was translated from the Cantonese pronunciation, Hong Kong, and in Mandarin, it pronounced as 香港. So that's why. Okay, now let's get to the next example, which is 租. The 租 means rent. And here is another word I would like to show you. It also have the right parts. And this is 祖, as we learn it in the God-related radical. In the God-related radical videos, we talk about this character, 祖, and the 祖, it means ancestor. I want to point it out because there is a saying. It says the 猪 have something to do with the ancestor. It is said that when you harvest the grind, and then you will take the grind to worship the ancestor. And by the way, almost forgot to tell you that this part, it could represent the tombstone. You know, when the ancestor passed away, you built a tombstone for the ancestor. And now come back to the 猪, it's making more sense, right? So you take the grind next to the tombstone and worship the ancestor. Anyway, so that's the little story for the character. Now let's get to some word. 租房 租房 The 房 we have a building related radical on the top. Right? So the 房 it means house. And 租房 is to rent the house. And we can also have 租车 which means rent car. And the next one, 交 租 The 交 means to hand in. The 租 means rent. A synonym. So 交租 it means to give the rent, to pay the rent. Speaking of the 交, let's talk about 给. 给 it could means to give. So the difference between 交和给, the 交 it means hand in. It feel like it's something you have to do, it's compulsory, you have no choice, and actually you're not very happy about it. And as for the 给, it means give. It could be you giving others with a very happy mood or just giving in general. So that's the difference. And if you stop renting, you don't rent anymore, and that would be 租 退 it means to back out. 租 is rent. So back out the rent. So you don't rent anymore. And you might notice on the left bottom side of the 退, we have a walking radical. So somehow like 退 is like you walk out. You don't care anymore. Let's continue with the next character, which is also very important in nowadays life. 税 税 it means tax. Actually, people also pay tax in the ancient time as long as they make money or they rent the farm to grow stuff. Like anything to do with business, people pay tax. So that's why we have a grind radical in here. It's because people grow grind to sell, and then so it's involved with business. So people pay tax. Now let's get to some very common tax we would need to pay in everyday life. 个人 所得税. So you see 个人 measure word, people. What is that? 个人 it means individual. 所得 得 means receive. So 所得 is receive, like what you receive. And then 税 is tax. So 个人所得税 it would be the individual income tax. And the next one, 关税. The 关 it could means a gate or the custom. And the 税 is tax. So 关税 custom tax. If you pay the tax, that would be 交税. 交, as we talk about it in here, the 交 means to hand in, because you kind of have no option, you have to do it. 税 is tax. 交税 is to pay the tax, to hand in your tax. And if luckily you get some tax refund, that would be 退税. 退, as we just talked about it here, the 退 means to back out. Back out, return. 税 is the tax. So 退税, return the tax back to you. That's tax return. And let's get to the next one, which is even better. 免税. 免 it means no or free. It just means no need to do. And the 税 it means tax. So no need to pay the tax. So that's tax free, duty free. Together, tax free, duty free. And if you see a shop, that would be the 免税店. 店 is the shop. So 免税店 is the duty-free shop, which you can see very often in the airport. Actually, there's a big list of the tax because, you know, in our everyday life, we have to deal with a lot of taxes. So I've listed out the word with the tax in the document. If you want to learn more about the tax-related words, you can download the document from my Patreon. I will drop the link down below in the description box. Let's continue to our next and last example. 科. Here is the evolution for this character, and as you can see from the picture, on the left side it's a grind tree, and on the right side it's a spoon, and it represents that use the spoon to categorize the plants to tell which one is good and which one is bad. After thousands of years of evolution, the 科 it means science, and subject. So actually, it kind of makes sense, right? Because science is originated from the daily life. Okay, now let's get to some word with the 科. The first one. 科学. 科学, it just means science. See, the science have a 学 in it, which means study. It does require a lot of studying in the science. We can have 科学家. The 家, I know you might notice, on the top side of it, we have a roof radical. And the 家, we have learned about it in the building related radical, and it means home. But does it make sense? Like science home? Well, in this case, the 家, it means expert. So, okay, why the 家 have two completely different meaning? Well, here is a little bit of my made-up story to help you to memorize it. Okay, so an expert should be specialized or familiar with a certain area, with some certain knowledge. It's just like you being at home, you are very familiar with your home. So see the logic? So that's my little made-up story to help you to memorize it. Anyway, 科学家, science expert, that would make scientists. So 科学家 is scientist. And let's get to the other word. 科学技术. 科学, we know that it's science. 技术, you can see on the left side of the 技, we have a hand radical in it, so it has something to do with your hand, and the 技术, it means skills or technique. So science, skills, science, technique, that would make technology. Yeah, 科学技术, it means technology. And actually it's a pretty long word. And you know, in every language, we try to be more lazy and we have a shorter word for the 科学技术. So we only take 科 and 技 together. So that would make 科技. And that is the short word for 科学技术, technology. Speaking of technology, we have a lot of technology company nowadays. So to say technology company, we can say 科技公司. 公司 is the company. So 科技公司, technology company. And if you want to say high technology, all we need to do is by adding a high in it. Gao 科技. So 高 is high or tall. 科技 is technology. So 高科技 high technology. Okay? So we know 科学 is science. And how about we switch it and we say 学科 学科 we just switch it, right? I will write it here again. We just talk about 科学 is science. So how about 学科? 学科 would be just a subject. It's the subject in general. If you want to talk about a very specific subject, I'll give you some commonly used word for you. 文科 文 it means literature. 科 is the subject. So 文科 is the literature subject. For example, philosophy, history, social study, etc. And we can have 理科 理科 is the science subject. For example, mathematics, physics, chemistry, etc. And we can have 商科 商 is business. So 商科 is business subject. For example, like business management, marketing, etc. And we have 医科 I bet you can guess it. 医 is medical. 科 is subject. So 医科 is just medical subject. Because we know 医生 is a doctor and 医院 is the hospital. Speaking of the medical term, actually there's a lot of medical subjects. In Chinese, we all use the 科 in it. And here's a list of them. You can see we can have 内科, 外科, 儿科, 妇科, etc. Actually, it's a very big list. If you're interested in this topic, you can download the document from my Patreon. I've listed out quite a lot of medical terms and medical subjects in the document. I'll drop my Patreon link in my description box and you can download it from my Patreon. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy it and you learned something about the grind radical. If you want the practice sheet, you can download it from my Patreon. I'll drop the link down below in the description box. So enjoy practicing. I'm Mandy. I'll see you in the next video.